I took my friend down to the barracks. The sky over London was fiery red. It was the glorious red of an evening late in summer, not the hideous, cruel colour that even then must have been adding its light to the eventide falling on burning Warsaw. Early that morning, we knew that the long wait had all but ended. The first editions of the morning papers, appearing then almost as soon as the last hour of the old day had passed, told of an impossible ultimatum made to Poland, and in the morning the headlines announced the first air attack of the Second World War. It was as if we were watching a very sick man who, nursed through all the precarious stages of a long and desperate illness, was being suddenly overwhelmed by a dreaded complication that put at naught all the endeavours of months of effort. For him, only a few hours remained until the final crossing over, and for the world, too, there was but a little while before it plunged into unknown horror, suffering, and death. Now the practised blackouts, which had attracted almost as many crowds to the West End as a New Year's Eve, and the unfamiliar barrage balloons, around which the gazers gathered in unhappy wonder, were to become a part of our lives. The khaki, navy, and Air Force blue uniforms, which were so rapidly replacing civilian suits, were no longer part of the unreality of an England living in so-called peace, but were symbolic of the very things on which all hope was based. That morning, the everyday life of our hospital had ended. Green Line coaches, converted into ambulances, had filled the hospital forecourt, and we had said goodbye to our patients as they left for their country destination. The hospital was empty as it had never been since the day it had first opened its doors decades ago. In the wards, filled only with their rows of clean white-sheeted beds, there was a quiet so uncustomary that involuntarily one hushed one's steps, as if walking in a church. It was a quiet that was almost lonely. Blued sunlight streamed through windows painted as an aid to the evening blackout. At a large centre table in the ward, a sister and her nurses were quietly cutting and packing tens of hundreds of wound dressings. Outside, sandbags were piled high. Stretchers were stacked and the operating theatres prepared. The hospital was ready should Warsaw come to London.